Sorry if my voice sounds a little different. I am not feeling well, but I still wanted to do this video today because I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with this collection of games. So today, my main goal is to talk about Atelier Ryza games, especially the DX versions that just came out. And all three of them became pretty big hits during the COVID years, with a lot of people discovering the series for the first time. I myself have always heard of the Atelier series, but it wasn't until about two and a half years ago I started actually digging through them, and as of today, I want to focus on why I think this trilogy is the perfect type of game to play on your Steam Deck, or Ally X, or even the Switch 2. So let's talk about the stories of each game, and I'm not going to do any big spoilers, so don't worry if you've never played this, but the Atelier Ryza trilogy begins with the first one, which is the Ever Darkness in the Secret Hideout game, where Ryza is just kind of this bored girl on her little island, where she discovers alchemy and just sets on adventures with her friends. And their summer basically includes alchemy to save their home from the destructive Ever Darkness and this big threat. And then 3 years later, we're jumped into the Lost Legends and Secret Fairy, which is the second game, and Ryza travels to the capital and reunites with her friends to investigate ancient ruins and the mysterious stone that hatches this cute little creature called Fee. And really, this game is kind of treasure hunting or rune hunting, where you're just learning about the underworld, and of course you get a wonderful ending in this game that actually almost made me teary-eye. And then the final chapter, Alchemist of the End and the Secret Key. This is the final game, so this brings all the friends back. It's a big reuniting game, and you just have to learn about what's happening. Right away, Ryza gains a powerful secret key, and it's led to investigate the ultimate secrets of alchemy and the mysterious code of the universe. So this takes Ryza and her friends, and they all reunite, and I really like this one because everybody's an adult at this point, save one or two characters, and it just feels like a nice evolution and growth for this cast of characters. So now that we've talked about the stories and how this DX collection collects all three, I will say that they flow very nicely with each other. It actually feels like you're growing up with these characters. Sometimes it's really rare. Even in sequels, they feel so disconnected at times, whereas I can say these actually feel like one grand story, and each and every character gets development that I really, really liked. Now, I'm not saying the plot of any of these games blew me away. I don't think they're made for that. This is a very relaxing style story with a lot of friendship and love thrown in there, but the characters themselves have some really good arcs, some darker than I expected. Someone like Lent, who goes through a lot of trauma with his childhood and his father. Things like that really make this series better than probably the plot itself gives, which seems very kind of easygoing, and then if it's not easygoing, the twists aren't like, whoa, this is amazing. But overall, the characters are what makes this story, and the evolution between all three games is actually wonderful to see. Now, I've done about 5 or 6 videos of the Atelier series at this point describing these games, but if you haven't watched any of them, that's okay. The whole point of these games is to gather stuff, fight monsters, and make new shit. It's a loop in the series that has been since the start, and guess what? It doesn't change here, but I will say playing these games back to back, it's so nice to see how they evolved in mostly positive ways. And what's really cool about playing all these games is I do recommend playing them in order. I beat in the first one, I beat in the second one, I played a decent amount of the third, but I haven't beaten it yet, and the evolution is so nice to see. And this one, especially this collection, you can see it slowly building to the grand finale of the third one, which to me, in most ways, perfects the formula that they were going for. So in Ryza 1, we learned the ropes with like just the basic node synthesis for alchemy and the start of the real-time combat. So when you're hitting things, you gain this AP to level up and do more attacks and move quicker in battle. That's kind of how it works. But things get much deeper and much faster in the second game, where you get this kind of supercharged chemistry lab with essence and and letting you duplicate and perfectly fine-tune all your items and weapons, so it feels like a better alchemy system. And I think that the combat is way faster, and the skill chaining, that I think is awesome, because the way you have to kind of use the other characters in your party to keep attacking and eventually break the enemy is really fun. And then you get new ways to explore, like swimming or riding a mystical beast. All of that makes it really fun. So overall, I think this is a nice evolution. And then Ryza 3, which is the game I'm playing now, went almost full open world and tossed you into this much bigger landscape, which I really liked. And you have to collect these secret keys, and these keys basically touch everything. In alchemy, they let you kind of instantly max you out to get your best stats. In combat, you can pop a key in to have temporary infinite AP, which AP you use to attack. So things like that make these games feel like you're evolving. And these seamlessly open fields where when you attack an enemy, you go right into battle, just feel like a great evolution for the series. More budget put it in. And then overall, I just like the combat. I think it's fast and exciting in 3, which some people might think it's a little too fast, but for me, I think it hit the notes that I was looking for the evolution of the combat of this series. And for me, like I said, the best part about this series is the combination of keeping the combat fun, the gathering, the alchemy being the main feature, and it still works really well, where it could be complicated but easy enough to get, hard or complicated to master. And I think especially Ryza 2 really ups the alchemy side of things, where I used it a lot more, had to gather the right tools to get through the story or even the side stuff, and I really like that. Otherwise, I think the monsters in this game would just wreck your shit, even more than one. So you have to use alchemy in this game. Now, I will say, I don't think these games are perfect. I think that sometimes they have way too many cutscenes that trigger in the town when you're going to talk to someone. I also think the first game starts very slow, so you have to give it time to see if it clicks for you. I think Ryza 2 is mostly great in a lot of ways, but I think the ruins, where you have to go around and find these little spirits to unlock the mysteries to complete the riddles, is honestly just a pain in the ass. I don't like when a game forces you to just do stuff that feels like fluff. I don't like it. I don't mind inside content, but I do mind it when it's the main game. And then the third game is huge and maybe too big for some players, and it could feel a bit empty. I get all those complaints, and I agree to them to a certain extent. But even with the flaws aside, I think these games are perfect for someone who has a Steam Deck. And why I say that is because the nature of these games, gathering items, building shit, fighting monsters, it could be kind of repetitive, the loop, you know? But in a handheld setting, where you have these in your hand, where you can watch TV or listen to a podcast or talk to other people, I think these are the perfect type of games that aren't straining on a handheld and work really well. And I think another reason why these work so well on handheld is because the graphics are solid, and the DX versions have some nice upgrades, but they're still not too powerful to slow down your systems. Yes, there's parts where maybe you get a couple of FPS drops and so in the towns and stuff, but I think one thing I like is that most times these games run really smooth. They look good. The action worked well. I have no major complaints playing all 3 games on my Steam Deck or my Ally X. I did not play the Switch 2 version, but I would assume that it would probably run just as well on that. And also, I will say battery life, if you're worried about that, I was playing the second game for 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours before I had to charge it on my Steam Deck. Ally X, about the same, so I think these games don't drain the battery super fast and still look pretty damn good. So all in all, if you've never played this series, and there's like 20 games now in this series, I think this is the perfect way to experience these 3 games right off the bat. I think the creator said that if these games weren't a success, we would not have any more Atelier games. So the success of Ryza really helped it. And you can see why, because they feel big, they feel bold, they feel like a sense of adventure. And I think a lot of people, when they try it and understand just to have fun, sit back and have a chill time, these games click for them. It did for me, and I hope it does for you if you're watching this wondering, should I pick up this trilogy? Now, I think all the new quality of life features in the DX version definitely help. And also they add all the costumes from the DLC. So if you're someone like me who likes to switch costumes out of characters every few hours, this is great. I think there's a lot of good ones. As you see in my clips, I've changed the costumes so many times. I think that's great. You have new episode content where you can go on the main menu and pick, and they're usually like a couple of hours of side missions. That's pretty cool. Not my favorite thing ever, but I think these games look the best they've ever looked. I think they run the best they've ever run, and I think overall the quality of life features just help this game work even better than before. So in my honest opinion, I think the Atelier Ryza DX Collection is very much worth owning, especially if you've never played this before or you never played any of the games in the series. You can jump into these right away. Just give it a chance, see if it clicks for you, and then if it does, guess what? You got about 20 other games that you can play in this series like I'm doing. So check out my ranking list that's coming out hopefully next year when I finally finish each and every one. But these games are definitely worth owning, especially the DX version. So go pick it up. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit the like button. If you love this, hit the subscribe button. And I'll check you guys out next time.
まだまだ終わらねえぞ。とどめだ。